Today's video is about my own personal egg moments throughout my early childhood. These events fundamentally led to the final egg cracking, so to speak. So consider this video about the egg cracking continuous rather than a singular destination. There's many moments in my early life that I could attribute to figuring out that I was transgender, which, by the way, egg crack just refers to someone figuring out they're in fact transgender. I think I don't mention that enough in videos, but that is what that means. Our first story details the time I played Club Penguin. Around 2008 to 2010-ish, I played this cute little social MMO where you could run around as a penguin and chat to others, play mini games, but you could also dress up. Now you can imagine how this went. So I'd basically waddle on down to the gift shop in the game, get a cute little cheerleader outfit, a blonde wig, go to various igloo parties, and use the preset chat option to say I'm a girl. A lot, actually. I did this many times, to be honest. And I would attribute Club Penguin to one of the earliest times I could kind of express being a girl, even if it didn't feel as significant at the start of my transition journey. And even if it was with preset safety chat features, I was still able to say I'm a girl. And that made my Club Penguin experience all the more special. I miss it dearly.
Club Penguin, why?
Our next story is partially related to Club Penguin, as the spy missions in the game made me passively interested in spy narratives and tropes. So thus, when I played Pretend, I decided to play as a secret agent, and as a secret agent, the supervillain turned me into a girl. That was the Pretend play that I went with. As a result, for the rest of the Pretend play session, I was a girl. I held a little blanket, I used it as a dress, I would walk around and I would still save the day and solve the secret agent mysteries, but as a girl. And we didn't pick a storyline where I changed back, I simply didn't. Though it's worth noting that the people I was playing with were very concerned and they were asking if they wanted to turn my character back, and I had to make arbitrary excuses to why we couldn't use the magical machine in reverse to make my character go back to a guy. So that was a bit eggy. However, I had a good time and I got to work on my body languages. I did all those stereotypical poses with the hands and that kind of thing, pretending to file my nails, despite at that time I did not know what that meant. I just knew movie characters did it, so I wanted to do it. Speaking of playing Pretend, if we turn back the clock even further, perhaps to my earliest memories perhaps, then we would end up in 2004. In 2004, I decided to do the most cis thing someone could ever do. Pretend to be pregnant. That's right, lovely audience. One of my earliest memories, heck, I think it is my earliest memory, is pretending to be pregnant. I don't think I knew what being pregnant meant. However, I held the same blanket that I mentioned in the previous story. That was the link. I know, amazing storytelling. However, the same blanket I wore around as a dress, I lied on my parents' bed, and my cousin at the time was role-playing as the doctor that was meant to help me deliver the baby. I don't think anyone in the room knew how childbirth worked. All we knew was it happened in a hospital and a doctor person helped make it happen. So we kind of just went, oh look, there's a baby now. How does this work in our Pretend lore? I don't know, lovely audience. So as a result, I now had a baby in this roleplay. Now, I probably wasn't ready to raise a child, and I learned that even more so for the rest of the Pretend play in retrospect. You see, the first thing I had to do once I gave birth to a baby was, well, what else? To do my makeup. When you have a baby, the first thing you obviously do is do your makeup. What else would you do? So thus, my cousin pretended to do my makeup and swung her hands in front of my face, almost like those ASMR videos years later that I'd watch. And that's how I learned what makeup stuff was called. Oh, this is mascara, this is blush, this is lipstick. That's how I learned those words. And thus, the memory is very special. Now, again, I didn't know how childbirth worked. So unfortunately, 4-year-old me was not a very good mother. Oh well, right? Speaking of pretend play, our next story takes place around 2008 to 2010-ish. Yes, I know the first two stories took place there, and then we went to 2004, and now we're just back to 2008. This video is chaotic, I'm just gonna do it because I can. So in 2008, I was playing this obscure game called Super Smash Bros. Brawl. You probably haven't heard of it, that's okay. I was a super hardcore gamer, so I had access to the unique hidden gems, so to speak. So, as we were playing Super Smash Bros. Brawl, I made a bet with someone in my family. And this bet might be familiar to a lot of trans people watching. Perhaps you've done something like this. In this bet, I said that if I lost a game on Final Destination, I would roleplay as Princess Peach for the entire day of tomorrow. So thus, mysteriously, my ability to play Super Smash Bros. Suddenly declined in that moment. You see, normally I am a pro gamer, signed by Cloud9 or something. Unfortunately for me, I lost my gaming skills in those brief seconds. And that costed me the bet. Oh, what would have happened if I won? Well, the other person would have been Peach, but as you can imagine, I didn't want that to happen because I would have been jealous. So thus on the following day, I explained to absolutely everyone I could that on that day when we played Pretend, I had to be Princess Peach. I had to. And they kept saying, you don't have to if you don't want to. It's chill. I went, nah. I'm of my word, you know? I make sure I fulfill the promises that I give to people. So thus, I would take one for the team and bravely play as Princess Peach. I know, I'm brave. Around that time I wanted that Princess Peach DS game. I still haven't played it actually. Maybe I should get that someday. Longtime viewers of the channel will be very familiar with this next story. However, if you're a new viewer, feel free to subscribe because that's what people do on YouTube. Anyway, this next story, the journal, the fabled journal. As I mentioned, secret agent stuff was cool in the 2000s, and thus this is a secret agent notebook. And you may be thinking, this doesn't sound very eggy or girly or anything, and that's fair. It's actually what lies within. That's the key to our story today. Which, by the way, just a funny note, my name, like my code name at the back is Flying Flippers. Because of Club Penguin, I thought it was cute. Anyway, let's have a look inside. Now, when you open our little book here, we have secrets. Deep, dark secrets. However, lovely audience, when we turn the page, that's when things get interesting. Yeah, yeah. I mean, there might be a cis explanation. Maybe. Next page says, I think Barbies are cool. Okay. That, you know, that could have a cis explanation. Like, look, I'm sure there's a very cis explanation of why this notebook says I wish I was a girl. Clearly I meant that, like, as a meme. Now, I didn't know what that word was yet, but I'm sure that's what I was thinking. Now, the next page is, I wish I was a girl named Kristen. Now, I didn't pick the name Kristen. Sorry, past me. That name didn't really elicit feminine joy for me now, but hey, it's what it is. Now, because I shared these secrets, just keep in mind, you can't tell anyone my code name is Flying Flipper. I might lose my secret agent status. So I hope you enjoyed this video about random tiny little egg stories sprinkled throughout my childhood. Each individual story was important, but I couldn't really make a whole video about it. At least most of them. So I decided to sprinkle them in as lots of little stories. If you'd like a similar video but about my egg experiences in high school, then be sure to let me know and I'll happily make a video about that. Granted, my egg was kind of cracked at that point, but I still had moments that fit this general structure. So, anyway, if you want more storytime styled videos, let me know and I'll happily make more. But that was the video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to hit the funny subscribe button, hit the like button, and comment what you think, as comments are very fun. We make trans videos literally every week, so you won't want to miss it. We make trans videos literally every week, so you won't want to miss it. I hope to see you next time. As always, stay hydrated and know that you are valid. I'll see you next week.